She stood at the cafe door, clutching her worn-out bag close to her chest, hoping someone would notice the quiet plea in her eyes. The place was full, every table buzzing with laughter, clinking cups, and chatter. She scanned the room again, her throat tightening as not a single person looked up to offer her a seat. Instead, she saw cold glances, quick judgments, and the silent rejection that felt louder than words. For a moment, she thought about turning back into the cold Canadian winter air outside, but her legs felt too heavy. She had only wanted somewhere warm, somewhere safe, even just for a cup of tea. At the far corner, a little boy waved his tiny hand at her. He must have been no older than 6, his innocent smile lighting up the space around him. Next to him sat a man, his father, looking tired but kind. The man followed his son's gaze and then noticed her, standing alone, shrinking into herself as if she didn't belong. Their eyes met, and for the first time in a long while, she didn't feel invisible. He gestured toward the empty chair, across from them. She hesitated. Pride, fear, and uncertainty tangled inside her chest. But the boy kept smiling, and the father's invitation carried no judgment, only quiet understanding. She walked over slowly, her hands trembling as she slid into the chair. The warmth of the cafe finally seemed to reach her bones. For a few moments, no one spoke. She wrapped her fingers around the paper cup she carried, the steam rising gently against her face. Then the father leaned forward, his voice calm but firm, the kind of voice that carried its own story of hardships. "It gets lonely sometimes, doesn't it?" he said softly. Her eyes burned, though she tried to hide it. She nodded, because loneliness was something she knew too well. The little boy broke the silence with innocent curiosity. "Why were you standing there all alone?" he asked, his voice filled with honesty that only a child could have. She swallowed hard before answering. "Because no one wanted to share their table with me." The boy frowned, as though he couldn't understand how anyone could refuse such a simple kindness. He reached across the table with his small hand and patted hers. "Well, you can sit with us. Always." Her heart cracked open at that moment, not from pain, but from the reminder that kindness still existed, even when it came from the smallest hands. She looked at the father, and he gave a quiet smile that spoke of understanding. He, too, had known what it meant to be turned away, to be overlooked, to carry struggles that others never bothered to see. As they sat there, sharing silence, small talk and the warmth of company, something shifted inside her. She realized it wasn't just about the seat in the cafe. It was about being seen, about being reminded that in a world full of closed doors and cold shoulders, sometimes all it takes is one person, one father, one child, to remind you that you are not alone. By the time she left the cafe, she carried more than just the memory of a warm drink. She carried hope, the kind that comes when humanity shows its best side. Walking back into the cold, she no longer felt like an outsider. She knew kindness had a way of finding you when you needed it most. And somewhere in that small cafe, a single dad and his son had reminded her of a truth she would never forget. That sometimes strangers become the light that carries you through the darkest days. Would you like me to expand this into a version long enough for spoken narration, roughly matching a 4-minute YouTube video script with natural pacing and pauses?